Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. What it might take to convert the largest Bitcoin fund into the US's first ETF. ETF wrap. We've got crypto on the brain. Blame Kathy Wood's ARK Invest in 21 shares, which announced earlier this week that they were throwing their collective name into the ring among about a dozen or so prospects aspiring to get a Bitcoin fund into an ETF wrapper. All the breathless anticipation for a Bitcoin ETF made us wonder why the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust hasn't had an easier go at it than rivals, who are aiming to launch an exchange trade fund that is more accessible to average investors. So, ETF Wrap asked Grayscale Investment CEO Michael Sonnenschein to talk about the process a bit. What he said and his view on the subject of a Bitcoin ETF, as per usual, send tips or feedback. The Grayscale ETF, which launched in 2013, is a monolith among funds pegged to crypto, and Sonnenschein reiterated that the trust is 100% committed to converting and said that the provider remains in very close dialogue with regulators. However, it isn't clear if Grayscale has submitted a public application or prospectus to complete a conversion, which it can also do confidentially. Sonnenschein wouldn't say precisely where Grayscale is in the process, other than to say our hat is very much in the ring. Sonnenschein gives the impression that the fund's 8-year record as a fund and its status as a Securities and Exchange Commission reporting entity, which comes with regular reporting requirement, gives it an advantage versus competitors in the race toward an ETF. Becoming an SEC reporting company, that was an intense process and something that I think that is, generally speaking, not appreciated enough. That brought the product just one major step closer to becoming an ETF, he said. The SEC has already delayed a decision on ETF provider Van X proposed Bitcoin product, citing questions about market manipulation and whether any single market participant would have the ability to buy or sell large amounts of Bitcoin without significant market impact. Sonnenschein said that the threat of manipulation is still front and center for the SEC, and notes that market infrastructure in the crypto world may also need to improve its systems to allow for better communication and the ability to call out potential acts of manipulation taking place in the market. Some of that framework does not exist, he noted. That is not to say that it won't eventually, to be sure. GBTC holds the equivalent of some 654,600 Bitcoin and is currently listed on the OTC or over-the-counter market. For its part, Sonnenschein that said that there are two other things that Grayscale needs to do to get closer to ETF status, like shifting from its current OTC home to a larger exchange like the NASDAQ or the Intercontinental Exchange, owned New York Stock Exchange. The trust world also needs to be able to facilitate the creation and redemption of shares via authorized participants, which is considered an integral element that makes ETFs less expensive and more transparent and tax efficient than, say, mutual funds. State Street and Invesco chatter of a potential merger between State Street's asset management arm and Invesco, reported by Bloomberg late last year, have led to speculate about what such a combination might mean for the ETF business. It could create the third largest provider with assets of over $1 trillion behind BlackRock's iShares and Vanguard. A record for the first half of 2021 saw a record $466 billion in inflows to ETFs, according to Matthew Bartolini, head of SPDR America's research at State Street Global Advisors. That outpaced the previous first half record of $242 billion in 2017. Here are some of the highlights from Bartolini. For the 11th month in a row, cyclical sectors plus $2.4 billion beat defenses plus $581 million. Growth ETFs had their Oh, what just happened? Oh, my apologies. Growth ETFs had their best month ever while outgaining value. Bond ETFs took in $20 billion in June and are on pace to break 2020's full year record. Led by active fixed income strategies, active ETFs took in $6.6 billion in June, their sixth highest in the 15th month in a row, with inflows a record streak. With over $3 billion of inflows in June into ESG ETFs, those focused on environmental, social, and governance have now surpassed a notable milestone of more than $100 billion in assets under management. Treasury inflation protected funds had the second most flows, taking $3 billion. This is their 14th month in a row with inflows. um, Innovator Capital Management launched the Innovator Defined Wealth Shield ETF on Cboe Global Markets on Thursday. The ETF is meant to serve as a bond alternative with benchmark 10-year treasury yields hovering at 1.50%. But analysts are increasingly pointing to the possibility of a return to the 2% range and higher as the world reopens from the COVID pandemic and the U.S. economy kicks into higher gear. That means holding on to the bonds could be a risky proposition since yields move inversely to price. BALT, referring to the fund's ticker symbol, is aiming to compensate investors for the risk in bonds and inflation, especially when factoring in for fees. The fund is representative of products that promise a set buffer against the downside in exchange for a ceiling on the upside of your returns to smooth out stomach churning market volatility. Such products and those like it have come more into vogue with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500 index, and the Nasdaq Composite Index hovering around records, and bond prices are also punching higher but are expected to eventually cool. It is important to note that the BALT doesn't provide investment income and isn't meant to mimic a money market fund, but it is intended to provide a large buffer, 15 to 20% on a quarterly basis against loss, with a defined upside cap before fees and expenses benchmarked to the price return of SPDR S&P 500 ETF trust. Many strategists recommend using such ETFs within the framework of broader strategy. So, there you go, guys. Just giving you the synopsis over what it might take to convert the largest Bitcoin fund into the U.S. first ETF. And excuse me. Um, so basically, if you don't know what ETF is, it's exchange traded fund. Um, so so you know So they're trying to do that with the Bitcoin. They've been trying to do this for years. They're trying to make the Bitcoin into something that they can use as, collateral or income and everything. And it's difficult because they want to find a way to put a cap on it. If they were just able to let the Bitcoin just go as it is, then a lot of people have a lot of money, especially if it's electronic. And to me, it's gonna happen. I just don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. It might, you know, just one little thing that could pass it, or they're just trying to figure out a way how to control it. See, with stuff like this, when it's a new currency, if they don't have control over it or have a way to stop it from going assert to certain people, because they want to kind of keep people who are on our level or lower down. They don't want us to be in that echelon where they're at. Because, at one point we were on that echelon with a lot of the rich folks and them going to places that they were going to, but they cut that out quick because they wanted to raise the prices and raise taxes in certain areas. So I don't know if that has anything to do with this, because I'm not great with the financial part. I have to talk to my mom, my sister, my brother. I used to talk to my dad when he was alive, God rest his soul, about this. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Do you think this is a great idea, bad idea? I mean, I think it'll be a okay. I think it's good if you could do that, but you don't know, because these people, they want to keep a cap on it, and they're just not going to let everybody get it. So thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this, hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you do love what you hear, you can cash at me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then in HDIITV. And thank you guys for coming to the StreamYard yesterday. It was a blast. The past 2 nights, you guys have been in full support. Let's keep it up, man. Let's keep you know, keeping it up, letting the page grow, man. It's hard work, man. But you guys, because of you, man, that I get the job done. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to continue growing the page, man. The page is gonna be there one of these days. So, but thank you guys. I kept you too long. I'm out. Daisy.